The queen requested a job to feed her child. Only a human gave the widowed alien queen a chance. Queen Zerthis stood at the edge of the employment district on New Geneva Station. Her tall, slender figure was wrapped in what used to be royal robes. The purple fabric had once shined with silver threads. Now it was old and torn. She had sewn patches over the holes with her own hands. Her daughter Kira pressed close to her side. The little girl was only 6 years old. Her large, golden eyes looked tired and sad. Kira's stomach made small noises. She had not eaten a proper meal in 3 days. "Mama, I'm hungry," Kira whispered in their native language. Zerthis placed a gentle hand on her daughter's head. "Soon, my little star. Soon we will have food." But Zerthis was not sure if this was true. They had very little money left. Just enough for one more day of shelter. If she could not find work today, they would be sleeping in the station's cold corridors tonight. The employment district was busy. Beings from many different worlds walked around looking for jobs. There were tall, blue-skinned Zentari with their proud faces, short, furry Corvin workers carried heavy tools. Green-scaled Veshans moved in groups, talking in their musical language. None of them looked at Zerthis with kindness. Some recognized her face from the news broadcasts. Others could tell from her bearing that she was once important, former. Royalty was dangerous to be around. Zerthis walked to the first employment office. A Zentari male sat behind a crystal desk. His forearms moved quickly over a data pad. "I need work," Zerthis said in Standard Galactic. Her voice was calm and clear. The Zentari looked up. His eyes went wide when he saw her face. You are the former queen of Velkar Prime. I am someone who needs a job to feed her child." The Zentari shook his head quickly. No, we cannot hire you. Too much trouble. The news says you are a war criminal. Bad for business. The charges were never proven. I am innocent of those crimes. Maybe yes, maybe no. But trouble follows you. Please leave." Zerthis felt her heart sink, but she kept her face calm. "I understand. Thank you for your time." She took Kira's hand and walked to the next office. This one belonged to a Corvin industrial group. The manager was a short, stocky being covered in brown fur. His small eyes looked at her with suspicion. "We need workers for the loading docks," Zerthis said. "You have soft hands," the Corvin said, looking at her fingers. "Royal hands. You cannot do hard work. I can learn. I am strong." The Corvin laughed. It was not a kind sound. Former queens do not carry boxes. Find work somewhere else. The third office was worse. The Thestian inside recognized her immediately. "You are the Butcher Queen," he hissed through his sharp teeth. "Your armies destroyed 3 of our colonies." "That is not true. I protected civilians in every battle." "Lies. Get out before I call security." Zerthis left quickly. Kira was starting to cry quietly. The little girl did not understand all the words, but she could feel the anger and fear. From the other beings, they tried 7 more offices. The answers were always the same. Too dangerous. Bad reputation. Cannot risk it. Find somewhere else. One Zentari female was kinder than the others. She spoke softly. "I am sorry, but my bosses would fire me if I hired you. The war is still fresh in everyone's minds. Maybe in a few years, my daughter will starve in a few years." Zerthis replied. The Zentari looked sad, but said nothing more. By midday, Kira could barely walk. Her little legs shook with weakness. Zerthis picked her up and carried her to a small park area. She used the last of their credits to buy a nutrition bar from a vending machine. She gave the whole thing to Kira. "Eat slowly, little star. Make it last." Kira ate tiny bites, trying to make the food last longer. Other alien children played nearby with their parents. They had nice clothes and full bellies. Kira watched them with longing. "Why don't they like us, Mama?" Kira asked. Zerthis chose her words carefully. Sometimes people judge others for things that happened before. They think all Velkarians are the same. But we're good people. Yes, we are. But they cannot see that yet. The afternoon brought more rejections. Some employers were rude. Others were scared. A few seemed interested until they learned who she was. Then their faces would change, and they would ask her to leave. One Corvin spat on the ground near her feet. "Queen of nothing," he growled. "Should have stayed and fought instead of running away." Zerthis felt anger rise in her chest, but she pushed it down. Getting angry would not help Kira. As the station's artificial sun began to dim, Zerthis realized they had tried every major employer in the district. Tomorrow she would have to look in the smaller businesses, but she was running out of hope. Kira fell asleep in her arms as they sat on a bench outside the last office. The little girl's face was pale and thin. Her breathing was slow and tired. Zerthis looked up at the stars visible through the station's great windows. Once, she had ruled a planet under those same stars. She had commanded fleets and made decisions that affected millions of lives. Now she could not even buy dinner for her daughter. She thought about her mate, Velter. He had died fighting to protect their people. He would want her to keep trying, to never give up, for Kira's sake. She had to be strong. Tomorrow, she whispered to the sleeping child, tomorrow someone will see that we are more than our past. Someone will give us a chance. But as she looked around at the alien faces hurrying past, all avoiding her eyes, Zerthis wondered if tomorrow would bring the same disappointments as today. The employment district grew quiet as businesses closed for the night. Mother and daughter sat alone on their bench, to small figures against the vast backdrop of space. Tomorrow would come whether they were ready or not. Captain Eleanor Rodriguez sat at a small table outside Tony's cafe, drinking her morning coffee. She watched the busy employment district through the large windows. Her own business, Second Chances Shipping, was doing okay, but not great. She needed another good worker to help with the growing demand. Eleanor was a small woman with dark hair tied back in a simple ponytail. Her clothes were clean but old. She had worked hard for everything she owned. Her shipping company started with just one old cargo ship and a lot of hope. As she sipped her coffee, Eleanor noticed a tall alien woman walking from office to office. The woman carried a small child, who looked very tired. Even from far away, Eleanor could see the woman's straight back and proud walk. But there was something sad about her to Eleanor had seen that look before. It was the look of someone who needed help but was too proud to beg. The woman was clearly not human. Her skin was pale blue-gray, and she was much taller than most humans. Her clothes looked expensive once, but now they were worn and patched. The little girl in her arms had the same coloring and large golden eyes. Eleanor watched as the woman went into the Zentari trade office. A few minutes later, she came out looking disappointed. The same thing happened at the Corvin Industrial Complex, then the Thestian Agricultural Center. That's weird, Eleanor said to herself. She's being turned away everywhere. Eleanor knew what it felt like to be rejected. 5 years ago, she had lost her job in the Earth Defense Force when they cut military spending. No one wanted to hire a former soldier with no civilian work experience. She had to start her own business because no one else would give her a chance. Eleanor stood up and walked closer to see what was happening. She followed the alien woman to 3 more offices. Each time, the woman would go and hopefully come out looking more tired. At the last office, Eleanor heard part of the conversation through the open door. "We cannot hire someone like you," a Corvin manager was saying. "Too much risk. Find work somewhere else." The alien woman's voice was quiet, but dignified. "I understand. Thank you for your time." When the woman came out, Eleanor saw her face clearly for the first time. She looked familiar. Eleanor tried to remember where she had seen that face before. Then it hit her. This was Queen Zerthis of Velkar. Primed Eleanor had seen her on the news during the Civil War. The queen had lost everything when her side was defeated. Her husband was dead, and she was labeled a war criminal by the winners. But Eleanor remembered something else from the news reports. This queen had tried to protect civilians during the war. She had opened refugee camps and shared her own food supplies. The war crimes charges were made by her enemies to justify taking her throne. Eleanor watched as Zerthis sat down on a bench with her daughter. The little girl was so weak she could barely keep her eyes open. Zerthis gave her the last of a nutrition bar, keeping nothing for herself. Other aliens walked by without stopping. Some pointed and whispered. None offered help. Elena made a decision. She walked over to the bench and sat down next to them. "Excuse me," Elena said in standard galactic. "I couldn't help but notice you're looking for work." Zerthus looked at her with surprise. She had probably not expected a human to approach her. "Yes, I am. But I think you know who I am." "I know who you used to be," Elena said. "But right now, you look like a mother trying to feed her child. That's what matters to me." Zerthus studied Elena's face. "You are not afraid of the trouble I might bring." Elena shrugged. "I've been in trouble before. Usually, it's not as bad as people think it will be. I have no experience with regular work." Zerthus admitted. "I only know how to be a queen." "What did being a queen teach you?" Elena asked. Zerthus thought for a moment. Resource management, planning supply lines, negotiating with different groups, solving problems under pressure. Elena smiled. "That sounds exactly like logistics work to me. I run a shipping company. I need someone who can coordinate cargo, deal with different species, and solve problems." Interested, Zerthus' eyes went wide. You would hire me, just like that?" "Not just like that," Elena said. "Can you use a computer? Can you learn our systems? Are you willing to work hard?" "Yes to all of those." "Then yes, just like that." Elena looked at the little girl. "What's your daughter's name?" "Kira." Zerthus said softly. "Hi, Kira," Elena said gently. "Are you hungry?" Kira nodded but said nothing. She was too tired to speak. Elena stood up. "Come on, let's get some food in both of you, and then I'll show you where you'll be working." As they walked toward the cafe, other aliens stared in shock. A Centauri businessman stopped Elena. "Human, do you know who that is?" He asked urgently. "She is dangerous. Hiring her will bring you nothing but problems." Elena looked at him calmly. "She's my new logistics coordinator. Her past is her business. Her work is mine." The Centauri shook his head. "Humans are so foolish." "You will regret this," Elena shrugged. "Maybe. But I'd rather regret helping someone than regret walking away when they needed help." They sat down at Tony's cafe. Elena ordered soup and bread for all three of them. Kira ate slowly, her eyes growing brighter with each spoonful. "Why are you doing this?" Zerthus asked quietly. "You barely know me." Elena thought about her. "Answer. I know what it's like to need a second chance. Someone gave me one when I started my business. Now I'm passing it on. But the others are right. I could bring you trouble. Everyone brings some kind of trouble," Elena said. "The question is whether the help you'll give me is worth the risk." "I think it will be." Zerthus' eyes filled with tears. I have not experienced such kindness since my husband died." "Well, you're experiencing it now," Elena said simply. "Finish your soup. We have work to do." As Kira smiled for the first time in weeks, Elena realized she had just made a decision that would change all their lives. She hoped it would be for the better. Round them, other aliens continued to stare and whisper. But Elena didn't care. She had learned long ago that doing the right thing was more important than doing the safe thing. "Welcome to Second Chances. Shipping," she told Zerthus. "I think you're going to fit in perfectly." 3 weeks later, Zerthus sat at her new desk in the Second Chances shipping office. Her fingers moved quickly over the computer screen as she organized the day's cargo schedules. Around her, the small office buzzed with activity. Kira sat nearby at a tiny desk Elena had made for her. The little girl was much healthier now. Her cheeks had color, and her golden eyes sparkled with life. She drew pictures while her mother worked. "Mama, look." Kira held up a drawing of Elena's ship with stick figures standing beside it. "It's beautiful, little star," Zerthus said. With a smile, "Elena will love it." Elena walked into the office carrying a data pad. "The morning cargo run is ready. How are we looking for the afternoon schedule?" Zerthus pulled up the delivery routes on her screen. "I reorganized the stops to save 2 hours of travel time. If we take the Corvin shipment first, then the Thesian medical supplies, we can deliver everything before the night shift ends." Elena looked at the screen with amazement. "That's brilliant. Jake used to take all day to plan routes like this. Jake was Elena's old logistics coordinator. He was a good human worker, but he only spoke 3 languages and didn't understand alien business customs. Zerthus spoke 17 languages and had studied the trade laws of dozens of worlds during her royal education. I also received a message from the Zentari Mining Guild, Zerthus said. They want to hire us for regular shipments to the outer colonies. Elena's eyes went wide. The Zentari Guild. They never work with small companies like ours. I spoke with Guild Master Thexara and formal Zentari. I explained our services using the proper business ceremonies. He was impressed that we understand their culture. This was the 3rd new contract Zerthus had secured in just 3 weeks. Her royal training had taught her how to speak with different alien species in ways that showed respect for their traditions. You're amazing, Elena said. I knew hiring you was the right choice. But their celebration was interrupted when Elena's communication device started beeping urgently. The caller ID showed it was from station security. This is Captain Rodriguez, Elena answered. Captain, this is Security Chief Vorik. You need to come to my office immediately. Bring the Velcarian woman with you. Elena felt her stomach drop. What's this about? Official business. Don't keep me waiting. Elena looked at Zerthus, who had gone pale. They both knew this day might come. Kira stays here with Marcus, Elena said, referring to her human mechanic. Whatever happens, we'll figure it out. They walked to the security office in worried silence. Chief Vorik was a large Corvan with gray fur and small, cold eyes. He did not invite them to sit down. The Velcarian Provisional Government has issued an extradition order for this woman, Vorik said, pointing at Zerthus. They want her returned to face charges for war crimes. Those charges were never proven. Zerthus said quietly, That's not my problem, Vorik replied. My problem is that keeping her here makes this station a target. Velcarian loyalists might attack us to get to her. Elena stepped forward. She's done nothing wrong since she's been here. She's just trying to work and take care of her daughter. I don't care if she's become a saint, Vorik growled. She's dangerous to have around. I'm giving you 48 hours to make arrangements. Either she leaves voluntarily, or I'll hand her over to the Velcarians myself. Elena felt anger rising in her chest. You can't just throw people out because someone else wants them. I can and I will. This is my station, and I protect it from threats. As they left the security office, Elena's communication device beeped. Again, this time it was Thexara from the Zentari Mining Guild. Captain Rodriguez, I am calling to cancel our contract, the Zentari said in his formal voice. What? Why? I thought we had a deal. We cannot do business with a company that employs dangerous criminals. Other guilds are talking. They say your Velcarian worker is a war criminal. She's innocent of those charges, perhaps. But we cannot take the risk. I am sorry. The call ended. Elena stared at her device in shock. Over the next day, 3 more clients canceled their contracts. Word had spread through the alien business community that Second Chance's shipping employed the former queen of Velcar Prime. No one wanted to be associated with the controversy. Elena called an emergency meeting with her small crew. Besides herself and Zerthus, there was Marcus the mechanic, Sarah the pilot, and Tom the cargo handler. All 3 were humans who had been with Elena since the beginning. You all know what's happening. Elena said, if we keep Zerthus, we'll probably lose most of our business. If we lose her, we'll lose our best logistics coordinator. Marcus spoke first. Boss, Zerthus has tripled our efficiency. She's the best worker we've ever had. But we might go bankrupt if everyone stops hiring us. Sarah added. She looked worried. Tom nodded. The Zentari alone were worth half our monthly income. Elena looked at Zerthus, who had been silent during the discussion. What do you think? Zerthus took a deep breath. I think I should leave. You have all been so kind to me, but I cannot let my presence destroy your business. No. Elena said firmly, we don't abandon our people. But Elena, Sarah said, if we go bankrupt, we all lose our jobs anyway. Elena stood up and walked to the window. Outside, she could see alien ships coming and going from the station. Most of their owners would never hire her company again, as long as Zerthus worked there. But Elena remembered something her father had taught her when she was young. When you give someone your word, he had said. You keep it no matter what it costs you. That's what makes you human. Elena turned back to her crew. We gave Zerthus a job when no one else would. We promised her a chance to build a new life for herself and her daughter. Humans don't break promises just because things get difficult. With the money, Tom started to say, we'll find other clients, Elena said. There are human companies that will work with us. Maybe some of the younger alien businesses that care more about results than politics. Marcus grinned. I'm with the boss. We don't back down from bullies. Sarah still looked worried, but she nodded. If you think we can make it work. Elena looked at Zerthus, who had tears in her eyes. We're not giving up on you. That's not how humans do things. Thank you, Zerthus whispered. I will work twice as hard to prove you made the right choice. You've already proven that. Elena said, now we just have to prove that doing the right thing can also be good business. As they left the meeting, Elena hoped she was right, but even if she wasn't, she knew she could sleep well at night. She had kept her word to someone who needed help. That was worth more than money. 2 months had passed since the crisis began. Elena sat in her office looking at the financial reports. They were not good. Second Chance's shipping had lost 60% of their business. Many alien companies still refused to work with them. But something interesting was happening. 3 human shipping companies had started sending them contracts. Word had spread through the human community about Elena's loyalty to her employee. Humans respected that kind of behavior. We have enough work to survive, Elena told herself. Just barely, but we'll make it. Zerthus knocked on the office door. She looked worried about something. Elena, I need to speak with you privately, she said. They went to Elena's private office and closed the door. Kira was playing in the main room with Marcus, who was teaching her how to use basic tools. I received a coded message from an old contact, Zerthus said quietly. There are Velcarian rebels planning an attack on this station. Elena felt her blood go cold. What kind of attack? They want to destroy the main power core. It would kill thousands of people. Zerthus pulled out a data pad. My contacts sent me details about their plan. They think I'm still loyal to the rebel cause. Elena looked at the information. It showed detailed station blueprints and timing. Schedules. This is serious intelligence. We need to take this to station security immediately. But if I give this to Chief Vork, everyone will know I still have contacts in the rebel movement. It will make things worse for us. Elena stood up. Zerthus. Thousands of innocent people could die. We can't worry about business when lives are at stake. Zerthus smiled sadly. This is why I trust you, Elena. You always choose to help others, even when it hurts you. They went straight to the security office. Chief Vork looked annoyed when they walked in. What do you two want now? He growled. Elena placed the data pad on his desk. Zerthus has information about a terrorist attack plan for the station. Vork's attitude changed immediately. He studied the data with growing alarm. This is detailed intelligence. How did you get this? I still have friends among my people. Zerthus said, they think I support their cause, but I cannot let innocent people die. Vork looked at her with new respect. This attack is planned for tomorrow night. We need to act fast. He activated his communication system. All security teams. Emergency meeting in 10 minutes. As they prepared to leave, Vork stopped them. Wait, why are you giving me this? You could have stayed silent and let the attack happen. Many beings would blame humans for bringing you here. Zerthus looked surprised by the question. Because it is wrong to let people die when you can stop it. Elena taught me that humans believe in protecting everyone, not just their own kind. Vork stared at her for a long moment. I think I am beginning to understand why the human hired you. The next day, station security arrested the rebel cell before they could carry out their attack. The story spread quickly through New Geneva Station. The former Velcarian queen had saved thousands of lives, but Zerthus was not finished. Helping, she used her old royal contacts to reach out to both sides of the Velcarian civil war. You have influence with leaders from both factions. Elena observed as she watched Zerthus make calls from the office. My royal bloodline still means something to them, Zerthus explained. Even my enemies respect my family's ancient lineage. I can speak to people that no one else can reach. for 2 weeks. Zerthis worked day and night. She organized video conferences between rebel leaders and government officials. She translated between different Velkarian dialects when communication broke down. She shared her own ideas for peace based on her years of royal training. Elena watched her employee work with amazement. This was not just a logistics coordinator anymore. This was a skilled diplomat trying to end a war. The breakthrough came when Zerthis convinced both sides to meet on neutral ground. She arranged for the peace talks to happen on New Geneva Station. Why here? Elena asked. Because this station represents hope, Zerthis said. This is where a human showed kindness to a refugee queen. If peace can start anywhere, it should start in a place that believes in second chances. The peace talks lasted 3 days. Elena watched the news reports with pride as Velkarian leaders worked together for the first time. In years, Zerthis appeared in many of the broadcasts, translating and helping the discussions move forward. On the 3rd day, both sides signed a ceasefire agreement. The Velkarian civil war was not over, but the killing had stopped for now. Station news crews interviewed Elena outside her office. Captain Rodriguez, your employee has helped broker a historic peace agreement. How do you feel? I feel proud, Elena said simply, but not surprised. I always knew Zerthis was capable of great things. She just needed someone to give her a chance to prove it. Some people say you were foolish to hire a controversial figure like the former queen. Elena smiled. People said the same thing when I started this business with no money and no connections. Sometimes the best decisions look foolish to others. After the news crews left, Elena found something wonderful waiting in her office. Her message system was full of job requests, not just from humans, but from aliens too. A young Zentari entrepreneur wanted to hire them because your company proved that loyalty is more important than profit. A Thestian family business sent a contract because you showed us what real honor looks like. Even some Corvin companies were interested. But the most surprising message came from Elder Vexara of the Zentari Mining Guild. Captain Rodriguez, I was wrong to cancel our contract. Any human who will risk everything to keep a promise is someone we want to do business with. Can we discuss a new agreement? Elena called her crew together to share the good news. We're not just surviving anymore, she told them. We're growing faster than ever before. Marcus grinned. Turns out doing the right thing was good business after all. Sarah looked at the contract offers. These clients aren't just hiring us for our services. They want to work with us because of who we are. Tom nodded. They've seen how humans treat people, and they want to be part of that. Zerthis sat quietly at her desk, watching Kira draw another picture. This one showed all the different alien species holding hands round New Geneva Station. You know what the best part is? Elena said, looking at her friend. Other people in trouble are going to hear about us. They'll know there's a place where someone will give them a chance to start over. Elena was right. Over the next few weeks, displaced beings from many worlds began arriving at the station. They had heard about the human company that hired refugees and outcasts. They came looking for work, but more than that, they came looking for hope. Second, Chance's shipping was becoming something bigger than a business. It was becoming a symbol of what was possible when people chose kindness over fear. And it all started because one human refused to walk away from a hungry child and her desperate mother. 6 months later, Elena stood in front of the mirror in her new office, adjusting her formal uniform. Today was special. The Galactic Trade Council was giving Second Chances Shipping an award for outstanding contributions to interspecies cooperation. Her company had grown from 4 employees to 23. The main office now took up 3 floors of New Geneva Station. They had contracts with businesses from dozens of worlds. Are you ready? Zerthis asked, walking into the office. She wore a beautiful blue dress that matched her skin tone. Around her neck was a simple pendant, not a royal crown, but something more meaningful. Elena had given it to her on her first day as a full business partner. As ready as I'll ever be. Elena said, I still can't believe they're giving us this award. I can. Zerthis smiled. You changed how the galaxy thinks about second chances. They walked together to the ceremony hall. Kira skipped between them, wearing a pretty yellow dress. She was 8 years old now, healthy and happy. She attended the station's international school with children from many different worlds. "Mama, will there be cake at the party?" Kira asked in perfect standard galactic. "Yes, little star. Lots of cake." The ceremony hall was filled with beings from across the galaxy. Elena saw Zentari Guild masters, Thesian diplomats, Corvan business leaders, and humans from many different companies. Even Chief Vork was there, wearing his best security uniform. Elder Thexara of the Zentari Mining Guild approached them. "Captain Rodriguez, it is an honor to see you again. Your company has become the most trusted shipping service in this sector." "Thank you, Elder Thexara. That means a lot coming from you." The Zentari elder looked at Zerthus with respect. "And you, former queen, have shown us all what true wisdom looks like, choosing friendship over power, peace over revenge." As they found their seats, Elena noticed something wonderful. All around the hall, she saw employees from other companies who had been refugees or outcasts. There was a former Corvan political prisoner working as a translator. A Thestian war orphan had become a successful engineer. A young Zentari who had lost his family was now a respected pilot. All of them had found work because other employers had seen what happened with second chances. Shipping, Elena's decision to help one desperate mother, had inspired businesses across the galaxy to give chances to people who needed them. The ceremony began with speeches from important officials, but Elena wasn't really listening until they called her name. "Captain Elena Rodriguez and business partner Zerthus, please come to the stage." They walked up together, Elena carrying the award and Zerthus holding Kira's hand. The hall erupted in applause. The Trade Council president, a dignified Thestian woman, spoke into the microphone. "This award recognizes second chances shipping for proving that business success and moral courage can work together. When Captain Rodriguez chose to hire a refugee queen, she showed the galaxy something important about human values." Elena stepped up to the microphone. "Thank you for this honor. But I want everyone to know that what we did wasn't special. It was just being human. We see people for who they are now, not who they used to be. Everyone deserves a chance to build a better future." The applause grew louder. Elena handed the microphone to Zerthus. "6 months ago, I was a broken woman with a starving child," Zerthus said, her voice clear and strong. "Every door was closed to me except one. Elena Rodriguez opened that door not because she knew I would succeed, but because she believed I deserved the chance to try." She paused and looked out at the audience. "Humans have a gift that many species lack. They judge people by their actions, not their bloodlines or their past mistakes. They understand that everyone can change, everyone can grow, and everyone has value." Kira tugged on her mother's dress. Zerthus picked her up so she could see the crowd. "My daughter will grow up in a galaxy where beings help each other instead of fearing each other." Zerthus continued, "That is the gift Elena gave us. Not just a job, but hope for a better future." The audience stood and applauded for a full minute. Elena saw tears in many eyes, both alien and human, after the ceremony. There was a reception with food from many worlds. Elena found herself surrounded by business leaders who wanted to share their own stories of hiring refugees and outcasts. "Your example showed us that taking risks on people can bring great rewards," said a young Corvan entrepreneur. "My company now hires more refugees than traditional workers. They are the most loyal employees I have ever had." A Thestian diplomat approached Elena with an interesting proposal. "Captain Rodriguez, my government would like to hire your company for a special project. We want to create refugee employment centers on 3 different worlds. Would you be interested in helping U.S. design them?" Elena looked at Zerthus, who nodded enthusiastically. "We would be honored to help." As the evening wound down, Elena and Zerthus sat at a quiet table watching Kira play with other children. The little girl was teaching a young Zentari boy how to draw flowers. "I received an interesting message yesterday," Zerthus said quietly. "The new Valkyrian government wants to offer me a position. They say I could help rebuild our world." Elena felt her heart sink. "That's wonderful. You could go home again." "That's just it," Zerthis said with a smile. I am home. This station, this company, these people, this is my family now. Why would I leave? Elena felt relief wash over her. But don't you miss being a queen? Zerthis looked around the reception hall. She saw dozens of beings who had found new lives because of what they had started together. She saw former enemies working side by side. She saw hope where there used to be fear. I discovered something better than being a queen, she said. I learned what it means to be human. You're not human, Elena laughed. No. But I learned human values, and I want to teach them to others. As they prepared to leave, Chief Vork approached their table. The Corvin security chief looked embarrassed. Captain Rodriguez, I owe you an apology, he said gruffly. When you first hired her, I thought you were making a dangerous mistake. I was wrong. Thank you, Chief Vork. That means a lot. Your friend here has made this station safer and more prosperous than it has ever been. Sometimes the right choice looks like the wrong choice until you see how it turns out. Walking home through the station corridors, Eleanor reflected on how much had changed. 6 months ago, she had been running a small shipping company that barely made enough to pay its bills. Now she was a respected business leader and an inspiration to others. But the best part wasn't the money or the fame. It was knowing that one simple act of kindness had rippled out across the galaxy. Hundreds of beings now had jobs and hope because Elena had decided to help one desperate mother. Elena, Kira said, taking her hand, when I grow up, I want to help people just like you do. Elena squeezed the little girl's hand. You already do, Kira, every day. Just by being kind to others. As they reached their apartments, Zerthis turned to Elena. Thank you for teaching me that the most important title someone can have is friend. Elena smiled. Thank you for teaching me that sometimes the best business decision is the one that comes from the heart. Above them, the stars shone through the station's great windows. Somewhere out there, other desperate people were looking for someone to give them a chance. Elena hoped they would find their own humans, beings willing to see potential instead of problems, hope instead of fear. The galaxy was a little bit kinder than it used to be, and it all started with one woman who refused to walk away from a hungry child and her mother.